2020. I'm Charles Morris. Happy to have you here with us on a Monday evening. Hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful Easter. As you know, if they don't show up in any other time in church, they will show up on Easter. And we appreciate that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed your Easter. I don't know whether or not you colored eggs. I did the Easter egg hunt, which I miss from being a little kid. I really enjoyed those days of coloring the eggs with my grandmother. The Easter egg hunt as a little kid in church and all those things that I haven't done in so many years. And the funny thing about something like being a little kid, you don't realize how precious those moments are when you're doing something so simple as I'm sitting there and coloring the eggs with my grandmother. As I look back at it now, I'd be like, wow, precious moments. But anyway, I'm Charles Morris. Welcome to the Journey 2020. I want to inform you that next week we will be at the Center of Urology with Dr. Abraham Woods and Dr. Eddie Jumper. We're doing a follow-up from the March 6th show. If you didn't get a chance to see it, go here to www.thejourney2020.com. Previous shows, March 6th, the P shot and the O shot. It was a very informative show. So we want to do a follow-up with Dr. Woods and Dr. Jumper. We also would like to have audience participation. So I'm going to be putting out some promos and some information on how you can show up and be part of the show for next week. That is coming up, I think, on the 24th of April, again, at the Center of Urology here in Altamont Springs. But if you can't join us locally, you can always hit us up online. You can always hit us. Also, one of the things that I don't push, and that is Twitter, is that we are up on Twitter at the Journey 2020. And you can also follow us on Facebook. And there's a text number that you'll be able to text us during the show next week if you have any questions, if you can't make it there live. So we want to give as much information out as we can about the O shot and the P shot. So let's bring us up to date to this Monday. 3 weeks ago, I started a show called Why Did I Get Married? Confession, I Want a Divorce, with a friend named Jean, who came on and talked about how she ended up getting married after being single for so many years. She was married before, had 5 children, divorced, and was single for a very long time. And she said she was doing very well in her dating life and decided that she would get married to someone who she said, as I framed it, bamboozled her. You don't get bamboozled by yourself, but that's just my opinion. So we did a part 1 and a part 2. And last week, Robin Josef came on and we talked about her watching the show. She's a life coach, and giving us some feedback. Well, I asked Robin to come back on the show, not necessarily to talk more about Jean, but we will talk about her briefly, but to enlighten us more and give us some more information about her work that she does in the prison system, both male and female. Now, how interesting is that, right? I mean, that cannot be a boring job. So if you are working with inmates, and from what I understand, there's sometimes been as many as maybe 75 in the room at one time in a prison. And I think maybe, and I'm going to ask her, maybe we can find out who's easier to work with, the males or the females, So I call it living in the crazy world. She has a different definition for it, but dealing with the crazies, and we know how it is, because all you have to do is just step outside the door and you deal with some craziness. So, but again, I'm Charles Morris. Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm happy that you're joining us here on this Monday evening. And so I want to say, so how you doing, Miss Joseph?
Hi, Charles.
Hi. Oh, you have to. I had a little bit of problems hearing you last week because I have a different setup. So when I listened to the show, there was a couple of just a few words that I missed. I didn't miss just only a few words. So I'm trying this right here. So it's kind of odd that I'm holding this because I just want to make sure that I hear everything that you say this time. So if I look like if I look weird, that's only because how we're doing what we're doing because, first of all, I want to say welcome and tell us who you are and let us know that you're coming to us from the ATL.
Yes. Hi again. My name is Robin Josef. I'm the founding executive director of Life Recovery Council, with the prayer for missing and abused children, and the prayer for victims of crime. And as Joseph said, I try to do some per diem work in mental health hospitals, prisons, and also substance abuse treatment facilities. It keeps me in touch with the people that I write about. And I think once I get ready to take the platform, it certainly keeps me more relatable to the clientele.
Well, I'm always fascinated by the work that you do. Anyone like you that that you decide to work in that field. I mean, I see my pastor. He works as a correctional officer, but that's something totally different. I'm still working with some of the crazies of the world. But the whole idea of the fact that you are actually working with the crazies of the world.
Yes, and you know I don't like that term. I like out of balance. They're out of balance. We're trying to help them regain and establish that.
Right, right. um, Talking about Gene, and by the way, I did receive a few comments, some feedback on the conversation that we had, and somebody told me to tell you thank you for all of that you do and the work that you do. By the way, so I just want you to know that somebody said thank you very, very much.
Well, I think people assume that we hear that all the time, but we really don't. And when we do, it goes the wrong way.
Right, right. I wanted to ask you. I kind of wanted to get into when I thought about it, I said, well, you know what? I didn't prep her for that, so I don't know if I wanted to go into that. But the comment that I made.
No, come on.
Well, no, it was about the comment that I made about how simple men are. Because when I told you that generally when I'm talking with my female friends over the period of years and years, and I try to explain how simple we are, and then they just don't seem to understand that. And then I heard you say, well, they are until I think they start talking, and then all of a sudden they're not so simple. Are is not so simple. Not quite sure what that means, or because I didn't ask you what that meant last week. But what did you mean by that? Because once you start talking to them, kind of briefly go over quickly about what you do with the men ministry, what your men ministry, what you do inside the prison. Kind of briefly go over that, so people know what we're talking about.
Well, most of what I do is substance abuse, addiction recovery, and when we're talking about the prison, a lot of times they're just as addicted to criminal behavior as they are substance abuse. For some, one outweighs the other, but not in all cases does the criminality support substance abuse. Sometimes it's the other way around, and they definitely have their reasons. You really shouldn't be getting that high on your own supply. But when we're talking about domination and control, whether it's of people or corners or territory, there's still a lot of addictive high that's in that. And we still have to process out why that is. If they want to, because, of course, the goal is to keep down the recidivism rate. How many times these same people come back?
Right, but again, I mean, the way that I look at it, and I try to explain it, is to me, I don't see where that's complicated, because it just kind of says how we are and who we are, and our personalities doesn't change that much from male to male in the sense of how God made us. I guess because I'm a guy, I don't see it the way a lot of women see it, because I just see guys as being guys, and when they come, when women talk about guys, and I'm looking at them like, why does that seem complicated? When generally one of the first lessons that you learn, and this is what I always say, and they don't quite know where to put that when I say it. I said, when you're dealing with a man, the first thing you learn, the very first thing you learn, is that he's one big walking ego. So if you don't, but see, they take that as a negative though. They don't know how to make that what it is and take it and use it to their advantage, because they look at it as a negative. But you can't get away from that period, because that's what I am when I'm born. That's what God gave me. That's who I am. And so when like when I don't know if you remember this, when I say that to Jean, she said, where did you read that? Where is that in the Bible? And I just looked at her. And no, seriously, because generally when you say that, you go like, how long you been dealing with men? You haven't found that out when you deal with men and how they are? Some are different in the sense of it. And I just talked about, not to really get into it, Robin, but when you have, because there's a different type of spirit when it comes to that. Because we're kind of naturally arrogant that way, in the sense of wanting to be the king in the room, because that's how God made us. But when you take that to another level of that spirit, that's a whole nother ballgame. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about a man how God made us, in that wanting to be the king on the throne and all that we do, and want to be the man of the house, and how God made us wanting to be the provider and the decision maker, and those type of things. So that's what I meant by that. But when you have that other spirit, and it's not a godly kind spirit, and it's a different kind of spirit, now it's on a whole other level of something else. Now that's a whole different topic, So that's why when I say men are easy in the sense, because generally it's usually about our ego. And this is something that I always say, we're kind of getting off topic, but what I asked to talk about, but this is something that I don't think that a lot of us really understand, Robin, is this right here. No matter what goes on in our lives, no matter who we meet, no matter what the circumstances and the situation, I'm going to always deal with you as a female first. It doesn't matter whether or not you have an education. It doesn't matter whether or not you have a PhD. It doesn't matter whether or not you live in Beverly Hills or whether or not you live on the corner. By nature, my first instinct, I'm going to deal with you as a woman first, and everything else follows behind that. You can't get away from that. You can't, because when God made us, we didn't drive Lexus. We didn't live high in the hills. We was just in the garden, and we interact with each other. And so as a person that God made me, when I see you and deal with you, it's not about the name before the name. It's not about all these things that have been put to the forefront, because by nature, the natural man-woman kicks in automatic. So that comes first with the hello, hey, how you doing? And I could know you for 20 years. And the first time when I walk up to you and see you in the morning, that's the first thing that kicks in. The man and the woman, hey, how you doing? Now, it takes on a whole nother meaning. And this, and again, we kind of going off topic. It takes on a whole nother meaning if I'm attracted to you. If I'm attracted to you, and I'm not trying to even talk about talking to you, trying to have a relationship with you, but I'm talking about what it means if you're stimulating me like son. See, it makes it makes a big difference when we can work together. And I'm not even talking about talking to you. I'm just talking about what it's like when a woman who walks in the room and she's stimulated, not asking for a phone number, not trying to take her out. But it's different when you're working with somebody and they be like, oh yeah, I just want to sit here and look at her. So all of that kicks in, and no, I'm serious. All of that plays a part in just who I am, how I deal with you, whether or not I pick up the piece of paper that falls on the floor, whether or not I bring you a cup of coffee, whether or not, we're not talking about trying to have any other type of relationship with you than a working relationship. So it's those factors in what I say. You a woman first. You a woman first in what I get back from you. How you make me feel. So all these things take place that people don't realize that God is just, God made us simple. Men are simple. You gotta feed my ego. And not in the way that it sounds, but I'm saying if you understood my nature and how simple I am and what I need from you just to feel like I'm a man. And that's why a lot of times men and women too, because it's the same thing. I'm sorry. See, I see you on the computer, so I'm always looking at your picture, but I need to be looking here. But it's the same thing that you need as a woman. It's no different, because when you look into my eyes, you want to feel a certain way as well. I can't get into the ram of that, and I'm not going to try to pretend that I understand what it's like to have labor pains and this and all this other stuff. I'm not a woman. I'm not a woman. So I'm not even going to try to walk into that room or what that is, because I say to women all the time, I say, as much as you talk to men and all this stuff, you still have no idea what it is for me to look at you and what I'm looking for and how I want to feel. You got an idea how you think you want to make me feel, but you have no perception of what it's like to touch you, what your voice may do to me, your smile. You have no concept. You know what you want it to be, but you have no clue. And the day that you wake up and realize that these things you really don't understand, you'll better understand. And I just kind of threw that stuff out there. We kind of like way off topic, but that's part of what I meant. Like when you go deal with men in these places, because like I said, the majority of the time, I guarantee you, if you go look at their record, they're in there for doing something in reference to a woman. I guarantee you 90% of them are in there and it's going to have something to do with a woman. That's all I got right now. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm doing good. You didn't really pin down a question there.
I know, but no, I know, but I just wanted to talk about the relationship, because I can only imagine what it's like going into the prison and dealing with men and how they see you and the response you may have with them. And one of the questions that I did want to ask you in relation to the men and the women, what feedback do you get when it comes to when they talk about their fathers?
Okay. Go back into that question a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But just to answer your initial question or to comment, I think it goes back to goals and gifts.
Mm-hmm.
My goal when I walk in, I'm there to provide a certain amount of coaching, counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and encouragement. Just on the natural side. On the spiritual side, if you will, my job, my calling as an individual through the Great Commission and Great Commandment, I'm helping the brethren be transformed by the renewing of their minds. There's a process to that. And when the goals and the giftings meet and the transforming starts to happen, the person, whether it's a man or a woman, If their heart has been fixed to receive what I am saying, then the process goes from there. It gets to be very complicated because a lot of times they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, why they're saying what they're saying. Whether it's on the high end of criminality or just trying to function every day in a relationship. There's a process to that. And whether they're men or they're women, when they understand that my goals for being there match my gifts for being called and anointed and appointed there, then either way, if their heart is fixed to receive what I'm saying, then they allow it to be complicated because they sometimes don't understand while they're thinking, while they're doing, while what they're saying, or how it got to the place, how it escalated to the place that it did.
Well,
so I think my goals and my gifts in talking to people and how I help them process out their daily lives, it's just very different, perhaps, than to what you're called to.
Right.
And I kind of liken it to when people say, "Oh, you're supposed to come to your family. You're supposed to talk about things with your family," and that's not necessarily true, because that's not everybody's gift. I have a cousin that's a mechanic. I have a friend that's a lawyer. I take my lawyer problems to the lawyer, and I take my mechanic problems to the mechanic. I do not try to make my mechanic my counselor.
Right.
Okay. Or my coach, or my pastor.
Right. You understand that. And I don't have to tell you, like, I used to do this show on the radio with a friend of mine who was very passionate and had been married for over 20 years, and she was talking about marriage and counseling and the do's and the don'ts. And we used to go at it sometimes because I used to tell her, because she'll sit there and she'll talk about, well, there's boundaries and this and that and that and this. And I would say to her, I said, you understand that. And that's part of the gift that you have. But your problem is you can't go to where they are. You can help those who are where you are, but you can't go to where they are to get to where they need to be. Because when you talk about barriers and all this boundaries and all this other stuff, they don't have no idea what you're talking about. Because for some people, there are no boundaries. There are no barriers. I just do me. So when they don't understand and you talking like that, they looking at you like, what? Because what's coming out of your mouth is wow, 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 wow. And try to get her to, I mean,
what I was saying is that is saying, because I already know the guys whose heart is fixed to hear what I'm saying and are willing to do the work in relationships. People talk about relationships take work, but what is that work? They come in 2 or 3 failed marriages, kids scattered out all over the place. And at some point, especially when you're doing time and you have that much time to think about things, and when you have lost things, whether it's automobile, home, the things that were in the home were all scattered or put out on the streets, it's a completely different mindset. Talk about petty, when these guys are, coming out, maybe it's a 5-year bid or a 10-year bid or even a 3-year bid. All they really have sometimes is that $50 that's allotted to them and whatever clothes they came in with. So they have a lot of time to think, a lot of time to ponder, and now they're ready for solutions. In some cases not. But here again, that is why I will do more work in the men's prison because women will seek out counseling, treatment, and social services on the outside. Men, you have to catch them while you can catch them, while their head is clear and they don't have bills and child support and all of these other duties that they're called to. But again, I think what you're saying, the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying is goals, giftings, and callings. It's
Right.
what I'm called to do.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you would have to. I mean, you would have to. I mean, it has to be a calling. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, you have to have that spirit, you know. And
Uh-huh.
one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, oh, did you answer the question in reference to the father? Do they ever talk about the relationship, you know, men and women, the father relationship? How do you perceive that in most of the cases that you deal with?
That almost like anything else. In open group sessions, probably not as much. Because even though we're on the inside, you know, there's certain rules to having groups, but then people are reluctant to give too much information. And also at the same time, you know, when you're one-on-one or in group, when you're having a really good session, it can be very triggering. And that's not the place to be triggered, even for me, because the way I manage the classroom or the group session or the one-on-one session is very different. I never speak to people in public like that. I have on a whole nother face because there's no room for weakness in there. And it may be 25 guys, sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 75 guys. I've had 75 guys in a classroom, and I have to maintain order and control.
Wow.
And that comes with how I present myself and how prepared am I to really bring something of value to them. So usually in my sessions, I go in, and what they find is rare is that I know all of their names. And when we talk about things, I tend to make a mental note of, you know, how many kids they have, or this is in smaller group sessions, not in those big 75. And they're being processed in. You know, we may graduate 5 or 10 every week, but then those 5 or 10 we get newbies that come in to replace them. So everybody is on a different level as far as when they graduate. And a lot of times in the teaching sessions, I would not be their one-on-one counselor. So talking about their relationship with their father is not something I'm going to ask them on purpose. If that's something they want to talk about, if they bring it up, then I'll just let the conversation go where it will, because a whole lot of the rules that people want to apply to parents and parenting may or may not apply to them. So I don't try to steer their conversations. I let them steer it.
Wow.
Because their parents, they may be the main trigger for their criminality. That's where they learned it from. A lot of their parents are in prison too.
Right.
So for many generations.
Well, yeah, but that's part of it, is what I'm saying. Like, for example, in my circle, there are quite a few gentlemen that work with basically doing the same thing that you're doing. And some of them are working with some of the younger males. When I say younger, I'm talking about 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. And
Uh-huh.
one of them that I know very well, who does some magnificent work in that area, and he has the same thing where they have to go through and they have to graduate, and they have like a award ceremony, they have a little dinner and stuff like that if they go through the program. And he'll tell you, he said, I have some of the most hardcore, what we call thugs, that he's able to in the one-on-one sessions. And he always say part of going through that program is that he will sit there and he'll say, put yourself in this place right now, and sitting in front of you right now is your father. Imagine me being your father. And he said some of the most hard guys of all, he said all of a sudden they just start breaking out in tears. Because they say, as they're talking to him being the father, where were you? Why don't you love me? Why haven't you been here for me? You supposed to be my father. You supposed to direct me. You supposed to teach. Those type of things.
Yeah.
And so he said with that, you can see the pain and the hurt and the frustration and the anger that's inside of them, just based on them having an expectation of what they think their father should be, or the relationship that they would like to have with their father, or the type of father they wish they had, because he's looking at it, and those are those triggers, and saying that I'm a failure, and not saying it to the point of the degree because I didn't have a father, but as it works, I am learning what I'm learning because you were not there to teach me. So now I learn from over here, and this is my family. I mean, if that makes sense,
Yes. And I'm sure you could see where a male counselor would do better at that. And also, like I said, it just it depends on the camp and the environment. But some of the youthful offenders, that tends to work a little better with them, especially if he's in a program where they're going to be released soon. But it does those guys no good for them to have another 18 months. And every time they come in to me, they break down and start crying, and then they got to get right, fix their face to go back on the yard. It's a whole lot of things that play into triggering people, and how much of that is going to be helpful when they have to go back into that environment. Or with a man out on the streets, maybe I wouldn't have him to say, talk to me as if I was your father. I might.
No, go ahead.
If there was a mentor or an uncle or a grandfather or someone that he wanted to bring in, to do like a group session or something. But I certainly think it's a good idea. I can see where it would work. But it just depends on the level of inmate, how soon are they to go home? Is it some kind of work release program or a youthful offender?
No. The program that I worked with at Coleman Prison was mothers of incarcerated sons, and Sherry Grace, who ran that nonprofit for a very long time. Oh man, it was an awesome program. She would work with the inmates who were about to be released, because I'll say it because the system is set up for it to be a revolving door.
Yes.
That's just me speaking, and I'm just being honest. It's based on the money. It's not about helping these people not come back. I think it's kind of based on them coming back. That's just my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
But when again, life is simple. People are simple, because when you're hungry, you want to eat. you know. And so if you arrested me for stealing food because I'm hungry, yeah, okay. But you just got out of prison, and what they leave with $50, right? Okay, so they leave with $50. If they have no family, if they have no support, what you think gonna happen? You know, let alone, and I'm not saying that they should not be responsible for their action. That's not the point of my conversation. But, and actually, I'm not talking to you, Robin, because you understand. I'm just talking. My comment is not to you, is what I'm saying. I'm speaking in general as a society, because I don't have to tell you this. You already know this. But we, as a society, we put them in a no-win situation, and then when they don't win, we look at them and go, see, I told you he's a loser. But you put him in a loser situation where he can't win, so there's no support. He or she started out with no support, just like you said. The parents are in prison, the brothers and the sisters are in prison, and the list goes on and on and on. And so even when I want to do right, I have all these things against me. So if I'm hungry, I need to eat. So what do you do? What do you do, Robin? What do you do if you're hungry? If I go to the homeless shelter, maybe that's an option for me. Maybe if I go over here, if I know about the resources, which was what mothers of incarcerated sons would do, they would inform them of the resources so they didn't have to feel that they are alone. To say, hey, let's try and prep you, so when you do get out, that you're not alienated or you don't feel like an alien. Because we talked about the fact that sometimes being institutionalized, that becomes normal to you, because now you have structure, you have a place to live, you have somebody telling you what to do, you have orders when to go to bed, when to get up, you have now structure. So now you good. You know why? Because you're feeding me, you clothing me, you putting a roof on my head. So as strange as it sounds, it's kind of like when I said last week when I was watching Geraldo, and I forgot what the topic was, and when that brother said, because Geraldo asked him a question, and he said, man, going to prison or going to jail is like going on vacation.
Yeah.
You haven't been on vacation, brother. You haven't been on vacation. you don't know what a vacation is. If you truly go on vacation, you can't say that.
Everything really is relative.
But how do you find working with the females? Because I wish that I could be a fly on the wall, because I can't compare to what I'm going to say to you, but I give you an example. Okay, I'm not comparing the two. Okay. I coached little girls basketball for a long time, right? And I grew up as a jock, so I was real serious when it comes to sports. That's the part that you have no idea, but I grew up extremely competitive. So when you're dealing with little 8 and 9 and 10-year-old girls, you can't coach them like you really want to, or you can't coach. They're little children. So you're trying to keep a stern face and try to emphasize the hustle and hard work. But they're like, they're kind of like, and so many times I'm talking to them, and they're so cute and so innocent into what I'm saying, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. But you have to try to be firm and try to get your point across. And so many times, Robin, their response and their actions, inside, I am laughing so hard because they are so funny. But I have to turn my back to gather myself so I can turn around with a stern face. Like, now, did you hear what I just said? But inside, I want to laugh so bad, but I can't let them see me laugh because I'm trying to get my point across, because I know if I start laughing, they're going to lose what I'm trying to say. So my
Yeah.
question is, I wish I could be a fly on the wall when you get that serious look on your face when in the room with the 75 men. That personality that comes out is what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes. It's very different. Um, it's a little bit opposite because with the men, I try to present the topic, and then I go around the room and I ask them what is their greatest unmet need as it relates to the topic within reason. Because they'll start coming out with stuff like sex and drugs and alcohol, and we're not here to talk about that. You know, so you learn how to structure your questions, and you almost learn the ones who are going to give you decent answers because they're hungry for answers. Women, on the other hand, it's harder to maintain control of the classroom because men can have altercations and then just move on. It's not over, but it's over as far as this classroom is concerned. Women, I have had to ask them to split the class in half, only because I spend so much time in classroom management because two can't get along or one's response is not favorable to the other. And it's okay because I can never even make it through the conversation. And the other difference with male and female inmates is that the male inmates will make other inmates have a level of respect for you depending on how much respect and control and what you're bringing to the conversation. It's very easy for alpha males, leaders, and I'm talking about the new clan. There were quite a few of the new clan leaders who would say, no, serious, you're going to go to her classroom, you're going to sit down, and you're going to learn something because she has something to say. Or the old timers, or, they're also gangs in prison. Some of the gang leaders, women, it don't really matter. It just depends. It depends on what kind of day they're having.
But see, just like I said, the way God made us is always gonna start. You a woman first, and I'm a guy, and that's what that is. Because what that alpha is saying is, he's saying you're gonna respect this woman because of how he sees you. Okay, God put it in us to protect you. For those who have that correct spirit.
Yeah. Again, you come from a position of a very mainstream experience. What they care about cursing me out or trying to put hands on me, I mean, it's if in a very controlled environment, and I'm not talking about corrections officers control. They're usually in the gate. They're inside the gate. We're the ones walking around. What people would call trustees on the outside. A couple examples. I was teaching, and there are classrooms in the front of the building, classrooms in the back of the building. Some of the classrooms are on the inside of where the inmates are locked in. And one particular day, one of the inmates had said, "Mr. Joseph, you're teaching in classroom A today, right?" And I said, "I don't know. I'll have to look at the schedule." He was like, "You're teaching in classroom A today." And later on, I saw them cart him off to what they call a hole, supposed to be solitary or whatever. And just throughout the rest of the day, different inmates came and said, "Miss Joseph, you're teaching classroom A, right?" And so, by what they call child lunch, I kind of caught on. And I said, they're trying to keep me from the cells, in the classrooms near the cells, because something is going down. And I went in and told one of the supervisors, "I'm not teaching in D or F today. because I've gotten too many hints that something is going down. And sure enough, some guys from another bay had snuck in and they started all this trouble in the back. They'll let you know. Some of the inmates will even say, Miss Joseph, I'm not paying attention. I'm preparing for class. I'm getting all my supplies together. Whatever. This so-and-so keeps following you around. I'm like, nah, I don't notice that. And so they cornered him. They cornered him and they're like, see, so yes to what you're saying. And no, because we're talking about sometimes very deranged people where they were fine 90 days before, but today, because it's their mother's birthday, because it's the anniversary of their child's death, or, when they saw their mother killed, we don't know what's going to make them snap today. So there's all of these different things that are in place to protect the woman on the inside, depending on who you are, because they will send you to the wolves.
Oh yeah.
If you keep messing with them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it all goes back to I'm saying, see, men are simple because they're about being the alpha.
Okay.
What it's about being the alpha. Some men are better at it than others, but it goes back to whatever that spirit is. Now, when you're dealing with that spirit that is not in that realm of a Holy Spirit, that's a whole nother world. Which I talk about the crazies. You call them imbalanced, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, and that is, and I would like to hear both. What is one of your proudest moments in the sense of the success that you have seen from one of the males and the females? Give me that story. I'm talking about someone who has gone through your program, someone who has left, and you said, yeah, you can actually go and give them a hug. No,
ain't gonna be no hugging.
No. What I'm saying is, give me one of your stories where you go, yeah, that's why I do what I do. Because I know you got
and surprisingly, a lot of inmates that came and said, you taught me a lot, but probably the Aryan guys, the new clan, that they came back, or just before I was about to leave, because in this case I wasn't going to go to the camp anymore, and they came and told me, what a difference I made. Tatted up. He was tatted all over. I don't know how he would ever get a regular job on the outside with as many clan tattoos as he claimed in prison. And also even the younger guys who would help me out with things, and you can kind of get a feel after you see it over and over and over, what the different tattoos mean, or even who they associate themselves with. And they were still actively recruiting Klan members in the prison and telling me what a great job I did and how I changed their life. I don't know. And certainly, you have to consider on the inside, sometimes that is their strong held belief, but sometimes that is just their way of protecting themselves. Some of them have to align with different people, depending on the camp, depending on where they are on that camp, who they have to align with to feel a sense of safety.
Right. No.
So I don't know what it was, but I thought it was sincere.
Right. Now, are you licensed to work in? For you to do what you have to do you have to be licensed in that particular state, or can you go from any state to any state to do what you do?
I can coach wherever I want to.
Okay.
Counseling is different. A lot of times it's so hard to get people in prisons. They'll create a curriculum and you can teach it as you will, just with a bachelor's. But no, I don't have a degree in counseling at all.
Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about that. I'm just talking about what you're doing. Because I mean the program that you have. I'm saying you can take it anywhere, and to any state that's saying, hey, we want to hire you. Come in and deal with our imbalanced people.
Oh no, 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 no. No, that's not what I do. For my program for Life Recovery Council, we're more of a mobilization because that could go on forever. I mean, I couldn't make a living for myself for taking those kinds of requests.
Right. Oh, actually,
But Life Recovery Council.
No. You know what? I just remembered from when you was on the show. Yeah. Okay. See, I just remembered how you get paid. See, that escaped me. See, I'm thinking something totally different. Okay. See, I just had a flashback for when you was on the show and you explained how you do what you do. See, so I'm thinking something totally different. Okay.
I may have explained one avenue of how I do
Okay.
what I do. We have certain sponsors
Right.
when we have the domestic violence shelter and that type of thing.
Right.
So yes.
So now, is it mostly in the state of Georgia, up in Florida?
Sorry.
You
Life
doing
Recovery
it?
Council?
Yeah. Is it
No, Life
mostly?
Recovery Council is an international movement. And our flagship programs are the Week of Prayer. And our goal is to mobilize faith-based organizations, be it churches or parachurch ministries, to partner with domestic violence shelters and sexual assault centers so that if there are disclosures during the weeks of prayer or throughout the year, they'll know who to partner with. I am but one person. I don't have so many resources. I can't respond to every family who makes an accusation of abuse, be it domestic violence or sexual assault. Well, that's not at all what I'm trying to do. But it is to collaborate in resources and help the communities help themselves a little better.
Now, what's funny is we're sitting here talking, going back to Jean, and I'm sitting here thinking, and she was talking about her husband being a thug, growing up on the
Hmm.
streets. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, when he speaks, and I'm listening to him speak through her with her words, because I'm not listening to him. I'm just listening to her words when she speaks it. So when she talks about him growing on the streets, he said, well, the streets don't teach you how to be a husband. The streets teach you how to survive. And I hear him, and what I hear is somebody who would like to have the structure, and this is me hearing. This is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
I hear him reaching out to her in a way, and I said, like, help me, be patient with me. I need you to help me because I don't know how to do this. Now,
Hmm.
when I hear about the thug part, I see the thug part as just knowing how to survive. I just know how to do what I need to do, to go where I need to go, do what I need to do. This is what I know. This is the man that I am. This is how I know how to love you. I can do better if I do. That's what I heard. I don't know if you heard that from her, but I'm a guy. Listen to a guy talk. I listen to her because she's emotional. She's that. But when I hear about the thug life, the street life, he doesn't have that spirit where he's, what I'm trying to say, he doesn't have that, what I call the evil spirit, but he has what she called the thug. I need to do what I need to do, and I need to hustle you to get this relationship because that's how I know how to do what I need to do.
Yes.
So, I mean, did you hear anything different, or did you perceive that any different?
Well, ever heard the phrase, when two people meet, six people are present?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Being that, say if it's me and you,
Okay.
it's the me that I perceive myself to be.
Uh-huh.
It's the you that you perceive yourself to be. Me that I want you to perceive. And then it's the real two people. Because everybody has blind spots. No matter how deep and conscious and woke we think we are as people, everybody has blind spots. So from listening to her, I thought she could be a little critical at times and a little judgmental. So I wasn't sure how I could trust what she was saying. You know, she a few times she said, "I hate those that listen to rap music." I listen to rap music. I mean, I don't know if she was venting or if she actually believed it or.
No, she was venting because I even said there's plenty of people who grew up on the streets who, I mean, I said it a few times that are very good fathers, very good husbands, so on and so forth, and listen to rap music, so
and who were thugs,
right,
and still do a very good job at being caring and attentive and all of those things. So I don't think what she meant is as important as, when two people get to the point of divorce, it's not so much now about the he said, the she said. It's about what can I help them gain from what they learned, and what will be the major takeaway. Because it's hard enough trying to sort out all of the physical stuff, and then trying to help them sort out all of their emotional baggage that goes along with it. Because whether they stay together or not, you still want to help that person to feel like they can rebound and gain a sense of wholeness beyond it from a very objective viewpoint.
Well, one of the things, what I would like for you to do is, I would like for you to put your information for those who would like to use your services. If you would like to do that, how can people contact you? I'm going to post it later on, but the services that you offer, if people want to, contact you, and I would love for you to be able to give out your information. If that's something that you want to do.
Yeah, well, you can look me up on Facebook. That'd be ROBIN JOSEF with the tagline "Week of Prayer." Or we also have a Facebook page that's dedicated to Christians against domestic violence. You can reach us at either of those locations.
Yeah, well, give that information again. I mean, you see, people might be like me, dyslexic and all this other stuff. So you have to speak slow, and you have to let get because I'm going to put it up later. But yeah, go ahead and give that information again.
So it'll be Robin Josef, Robin W. Joseph, ROBIN, the letter W, JOSEF on Facebook, or find us at Christians Against Domestic Violence on Facebook.
Oh, okay. And is there? Well, that's the way you want it now. That's the best way to find you. Talking to you, again, we're talking about your calling. I've never asked you this question. What do your family think about what you do? The people that you work with, the people that you. What your family have to say?
Up until the past couple of years, it's not something that I talk about a whole lot. Because it can be very dangerous. There are hundreds. I mean, because I've been doing inmate work release programs on and off probably since the early 2000s. So 16 years. There are a lot of inmates out there who know who I am. I have absolutely no idea who they are. So one of my last coaching clients was very near my hometown. And I got a chance to see a little bit of what I do, but it's not something that I try to burden them with often,
Hmm.
only when needed.
No. Wow. Okay. Um, that's interesting because, well, I'll just leave that alone. I got you. I understood what you just said. Understood
Yeah,
what you
because
just said.
there's a whole lot of confidentiality involved, especially when you're in a smaller community. I mean, and even Orlando is considered a city, but it's still a smaller community.
Hmm.
Even from the HIV days. Um, if I see one of our clients in the mall or something, I don't go up and talk to them. I let them come talk to me. And if the question arises, how did you meet them? Whatever, I'll say somebody I know from work,
Right.
or somebody I know from the community. Because either way, whether it's HIV or mental health or substance abuse, or if they were in prison, then it's still kind of like a stigma associated with them being one of my clients. So it's better to just leave it alone.
I got an odd question for you.
Uh-huh.
How many best friends do you have?
Um, I don't know about best, maybe a couple.
So I'm just saying, is it one, two, what, one or two, three and a half? What?
Um, I guess to qualify that, is there a person that I talk to every day and vent to? Yes, there's one person,
Okay.
but they're also related to me.
Right. Right. So I'm. It's it's a Charles thing right now.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah. So as far as your circle, and you do what you do, and thinking about you kind of live a private life, kind of in a way, you know. Uh,
Yeah,
but
certainly
but
more so in the past 3 to 5 years, because I never intended to promote myself. I have a book,
right.
um, and there came a time where it was time to promote the book, but just from situations beyond my control, that did not happen to the extent that I wanted it to. And I can appreciate all the whys now because it let me do more work on the front lines, if you will. Because what started happening is you you the more you're recognized, the less you can effectively do that kind of work. Because so many, as far as life coaching, um, in the streets with people. I mean, yeah, you can do some stuff on reality television and whatever not. And that is almost like a counselor in that they come and sit and talk to you in your space. But coaching, the most effective that I've seen is when we go out in their space. Because there's a certain level of trust there. And there's many different levels of coaching that I've gotten a chance to do in that space and time. And to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way because you will get to a point eventually that your speaking schedule will take over, and you don't have time to do that. Just like know, I had a lot of people to call me. No, no, I need to take calls all day.
Okay. Okay. Well.
So we do make referrals though, but not you know somebody I don't know what's coaching. They need you know some one-on-one attention. That's not what we do. We make referrals for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to thank you again. Time has flown by. I know some of those
Yes.
questions that I didn't get to, but
Uh huh.
I just find that you're a very interesting person. Love your spirit, love what you do, and you kind of remind me of a person that I grew up with. We went to elementary school together, and let me see if I can say this right. We went to school. Been knowing each other since probably about maybe 4th or 5th grade. I went to junior high, high school. I used to date her sister back in the day, and very much was part of a family as far as a mom and everybody. We're still very good friends. But we grew up in the hood. Okay. And she was one that her father had one of the little neighborhood stores. Okay. And so as we got older, about the age of, let's just say around 20, 21, 22, father was a little older, and she used to go into the little store that they had in the neighborhood and just manage that store by herself behind the counter. I don't know how she did it, but it was her relationship she had with all the winos, all the crackheads, all the druggies, and everything else, because nobody bothered her. It was the respect she had, her relationship, that she could talk with them, she laughed with them, they looked out for her. But it's not too many people that could have worked that store, and she had no problems, you know.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, right,
Awesome.
that's what I'm saying. To work in that store, in that neighborhood, and be in there by herself.
Yes. Yes.
And some of the stories that she could tell you, and the fact that some of those men would come in there and actually talk to her, because she was like a listening ear, and they admire her and look. Plus, it didn't help that she was a nice looking girl. She was a beautiful girl as well, but she had a great personality. And I always tease her to this day that she should write a book. But you kind of remind me of her.
Yes.
Just that personality and that whole thing. And you could work in that store. You could work in the store.
Probably. Well, thank you. She must be a very lovely person.
Well, yeah, of course. She really is. She actually ended up marrying a pastor, so now I call her First Lady.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but she's a gentle, very gentle person, very loving, very kind, and so you kind of remind me of her, and you two remind me of each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So again, I just wanted to thank you so much. I would like for you to figure out when you want to come back on so we can talk about your book, because we never really have talked about your book.
We never really have talked about the book, not the book alone.
Oh yeah. Okay. But you have to tune in next week, though. The reason why, let me tell you why. Let me do this like this. Okay. Let me do this like this. You have to tune in next week, because we're going to be with Dr. Abraham Woods and Eddie Jumper from the Center of Urology. And this is going to be part 2 of the O Shot and the P Shot. I don't know if you saw that show. Did you see the show?
I have not. No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to go see the show about the O Shot and the P Shot. So you might get a kick out of that. But
yeah, that sounds like fun.
So we're doing a follow-up from the Center of Urology, and we're hoping that some people will come out. I'm actually going to start putting up some promos for the show for this coming Monday. And once you see what the O Shot and P Shot is, then you better understand why people will probably want to come out and ask questions. And he's also, I think, I have to ask, but he's going to give like a discount for the O Shot or the P Shot. Because it's cost the procedure's like $2,000 or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he's gonna give taking place, and we're looking for those that want to come out and take part in the show. There's a place for you to actually sit down, and there's going to be a mic there. You ask questions. So we're going to have information upcoming real soon. This coming week is going to be up on the website and also up on Facebook as well. So next Monday we're going to be at the Center of Urology, and we're going to be able to also, you can Twitter in, you can go on Twitter and do the Journey 2020. So you can Twitter as well, ask questions. I'm also going to put up a text number so people can text questions, because ain't nothing like enhanced sex life. We love sex, don't we? So, and so that's what the O shot and the P shot is about, in addition to some other things as well as benefit of it all. So, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And any last words? And remember, give me a date now so we want to come back and talk about whatever you want to talk about in your book.
Okay, will do. Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk about that population. And I know a lot of times people will try to make them different. No, they're probably less than 1% of the population who actually got caught doing what they were doing. And the rest of the people who are still doing it are still out on the street.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I always tell the kids when I'm talking to the kids. I always say that the difference between you and a lot of others who sit there and criticize you, who wearing the suits and the ties in executive offices, is that they just didn't get caught.
Exactly.
You're right. They just didn't get caught. Trust me, they did some things. Or if they did get caught, they had the money to hush. Somebody did a favor for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
exactly.
That's one of the things that I try to emphasize to the kids as well. So I want to thank you so much again. Let me say my goodbye, and then I'm going to officially say goodbye to you. So let me do this. You have to tune in next week, because we're going to be with Dr. Abraham Woods and Eddie Jumper from the Center of Urology. And this is going to be part 2 of the O shot and the P shot. I don't know if you saw that show. Did you see the show?
I have not. No,
Oh, you got to go see the show about the O shot and the P shot. You know, so you might get a kick out of that. But we're doing
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, so we're doing a follow-up from the Center of Urology, and we're hoping that some people will come out. I'm actually going to start putting up some promos for the show for this coming Monday. And once you see what the O shot and the P shot is, then you better understand why people would probably want to come out and ask questions. And he's also, I think, going to, I have to ask him how he's going to do this, but he's going to give like a discount for the O shot or the P shot, because it costs the procedure's like $2,000 or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he's gonna give like a discount and some other things that's supposed to be taking place, and we are looking for those that want to come out and take part in the show. There's a place for you to actually sit down, and there's going to be a mic there for you to ask questions. So we're going to put that information up coming real soon. This coming week is going to be up on the website and also up on Facebook as well. So next Monday we're going to be at the Center of Urology, and we're going to be able to also, you can Twitter in, you can go on Twitter and do the Journey 2020, so you can Twitter as well, ask questions. I'm also going to put up a text number so people can text the questions, because ain't nothing like enhancing your sex life. We love sex, don't we? So and so that's what the O shot and the P shot is about, in addition to some other things as well as the benefit of it all. So again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. So I want to thank you so much again. Let me say my goodbye, and then I'm going to officially say goodbye to you. So let me do this and do it like this. Well, we want to thank Miss Joseph. Like always, she's great to talk to. She's easy to talk to because she's a fascinating person, living a fascinating life, blessing so many people. I would love to be a fly on the wall doing her sessions. I probably would pay money just to sit there and watch her do what she does, you know, because I can only imagine. But one of the things that we didn't talk about, maybe we can talk about it. I think I may have asked her later. I don't know if I asked her off camera, but I would love for her, not now, but I would love for her to come back and to talk about her doing what she's doing and how that plays a part in her relationship now, and her dealing with these men, and how now she sees men, like, you know, if I come up to her and go, hey baby, what's your name? You know, how now she sees me, not in reference to that, but just, hey, how you doing? My name is Charles. What's your name? How does all of that kick in into how she responds back in the relationship, period, overall, you know, because this has nothing to do with her. Because there are some women who they do what they do at work and in the professional world, but they don't know how to turn it off. They don't know how to turn it off. And the same thing for the men. When you come home, you have to know how to turn it off. But that's another show. Again, I want you to tune in next week. We're going to be at the Center of Urology with Dr. Abraham Woods and Dr. Eddie Jumper. We're going to be doing a follow-up from March 6th from the O shot and the P shot, and we're hoping that you can come out and join us in the live audience, ask questions. Also, you can join us on Twitter as well, and I may even stream it live on Facebook as well. So I'm Charles Morris, and I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this Monday, and hope you had a great Easter and enjoy the rest of your week.